This place would already be a ruin if not for me. Keeping the remaining guards in line, keeping some sort of order to this damn cursed hole. If it weren't for the lady saying this cure is almost ready, I'd have already got the men to slit their throats and take as much as we could from this place. But where would we bloody go then? We all have this damn disease. We're all cursed. Still have our minds for now, though. Unlike the peasants, at least. But for how long? For now, we need to wait on this bloody cure and keep those bastards in the woods from overrunning this place. This physician thinks she's so clever, but I've got my eye on her. She clearly has been sent here to give back intel to those rebels. She'll tell me everything she knows. Everything. As soon as I get away from the mistress. Stupid woman. Head in the clouds, that one. Mad like all the rest of this family. But her experiments, well, they seem to be doing something. Still, if she does not deliver soon, I think it'll be time for us all to take our chances on the road, disease or not. This is Red Moon Roleplaying. Things have taken a rather dangerous turn in the dark tunnels beneath the great castle Wittgenstein. Kruger Hoffman and Heinrich Schiffler, you have managed to make some progress in this dark realm with your 10 friends from your rebel motley. You managed to avoid a nasty encounter with some rather unpleasant wildlife, only getting minor injuries to a few of your number. But things have taken a rather unsettling turn. You seem to have come into an area full of passageways and traps. You have just managed to avoid some of these traps yourself, but one of your number was not so lucky, being hoisted in the air immediately. A second member almost got hoisted as well, but due to your earlier planning, those ropes managed to keep you together. Still, a new threat has emerged as an axe flies through the air, a throwing axe, landing straight into the poor man already hoisted in the air, killing him quite quickly. You now sense movement around you. You look around, Kruger. You think you hear something in the dark, something muttering.
More, bless this hunt. More, bless this hunt. Bless this hunt. Bless this hunt.
What do you do?
I try to locate where the sound is coming from. Who is it that's speaking? It's not one of our people for sure, right?
Definitely not one of your own. Please roll me a perception check. At a -10, this is a very dark cave, and there are several places it could be coming from. It's very echoey, you realise.
Yes, that is a very poor roll, and the darkness certainly doesn't help. Failure.
No idea. You think it could be coming from the left, to the right? It's echoing, you realise. Maybe even deliberately echoing. It could be anywhere, but you can feel movement around you. Everyone is starting to panic a little. They're trying to close ranks. But you quickly realise, Kruger, this isn't a beast. This is something intelligent. It's not just going to run at you, you don't think. It's your turn. What do you do as this combat begins?
Well, I do need to find the enemy that is pursuing us, but first of all, I need to have my weapon ready. So I'll get my crossbow loaded and be prepared for firing upon anything that would appear out of the darkness.
Indeed. You don't know where this thing is, but you could make a shot regardless. It will be difficult, a -20, but maybe you'll get lucky. There's only so many places that you can't see after all. Maybe just pray to fate, but it's your choice. I will let you... I would also let you hold your action if you wanted.
If so, shooting at something I can't see is not a particularly good idea. I mean, yes, there has been weapons thrown at us. Presumably whatever's there is hostile. But you never know. I'll hold and I'll see if we can see something clearer so that I can hopefully shoot and hit something. It'll take me so long to reload that I can't afford to waste my bolts.
In that case, you will hold your action. Basically, you can do your action whenever you want during this round. You're just holding it for a few more moments. Therefore, it is your turn. Heynrik, you realise the ropes were a good idea for the initial traps, but you also realise that if this enemy of yours is mobile, now it might be a detriment. Up to you to decide. Will you try and fight from where you are, or release yourself from the ropes and try and seek this thing out?
I don't think it's a great idea for us to get separated out in these tunnels. For the first reason, we have no idea where they go or what might be in them, or hookworms on the floors, God forbid a pit. But second, they might also cross back into one another. I don't want to go to shoot the first thing that moves and have it be one of our friends. So for the time being, I think the ropes remain a good idea, but Kruger is right in that we cannot fight what we cannot see. There, if I recall, are 8 of our gorilla friends with us still?
Well, 9. 2 were injured, but they're still fine, but 1 person is very dead, so 9 in total.
Very well. Can I issue an order? The way that I'm visualizing this space, it's a bit like lava tubes, right? So there are not so many branching tunnels coming off, but there could be more than, 5 or 6, you think?
Yes, that seems about right. There's only so many branches. Some of them go up, some of them go down. Again, you can feel movement in the air around you. It occurs to you, traps, movement. If somebody knows this location very well, you really are at a disadvantage.
That I am certain of. We also don't have a clear idea of how to go forward, but my initial idea is to instruct the nearest camp accompaniment to throw one of the torches down one of the alleys. I'm not a medieval torchologist, but I do think they will continue to burn unless they land in actual liquid, right?
Correct.
So it stands to reason to me that if we at least illuminated 3 or 4 of these tunnels, we could reduce the number of possible angles where someone could come at us undetected, right?
Correct. That you're going to roll a leadership roll to make the command in the first place. Give yourself a +10 due to your recent activities with swords.
Okay, well, we're starting out with an 87, which is several levels above where it needs to be. And given the circumstances that we find ourselves in, I kind of want to save that fortune. So, no, I'm guessing that command does not come out with the confidence that Heynrik imagined.
You command the men to throw some torches into the dark, and one of them goes like, "You bloody mad? We'll lose our torches!" And then the guy's like, "No, he's got a point, shut up!" And they kind of just start arguing with each other. And while that's happening, you realise that whatever they're going to do, they're not going to do it in the next couple of seconds. So what will you do with your actual action for your turn?
I have even more reason not to shoot than Kruger does. For one, ammo for this thing is incredibly expensive. I don't have that much. And 2, any gunshot would definitely send alarms heading up. Can I, if nothing else, attempt to either intuit the layout of this place? For example, if one of the tunnels kind of bends to the right and another to the left, maybe I can tell where they intersect. Or I can give a perception check to see if I'm guessing at this point Kruger and I have kind of started facing back to back, right?
Absolutely.
I will allow you to either make a navigation check or a perception check. The perception check will be at a -10, but the navigation check will be standard difficulty.
In a weird mathematical coincidence, it's the same number either way, so let's try to beat a 39, shall we? Okay, that's much better. That's a 6.
Which skill did you use in the end?
Navigation.
You close your eyes. You're not trying to see, you're actually trying to just think. Well, you came from that tunnel just there, and that didn't have multiple exits, so it can't be directly behind you. That would be impossible. What about in front of you? Left, right. The water's to the right. Well, that must mean there's that water source nearby, so maybe you'd hear splashing. Okay, maybe maybe your opponent's on the left. You look straight down one of these dark entrances, and you think you see movement to your left.
I will let literally everyone within shouting distance have this information. I can only hear it, I can't see it.
Correct.
Well, Heynrik is brave and also, I guess, feels somewhat responsible for these people. A, having literally led them in this case, and also B, he's the man with the magic sword, right? That means you're in charge. So I will start taking tentative steps in that direction, at least keeping one ear open to make sure this isn't an L-shaped ambush that we've walked into, and I'm going to start taking arrows in the back.
Then you begin advancing in that direction, and then you think you see something move, but it's moving quite quickly, but not quick enough that you can't do something before it gets out of your way. What do?
My rapier is fast, even if I'm not. So if I can close the distance enough, I would love to stab whatever this is and then ask questions about it later.
Then you will run forwards. But due to your successful navigation roll, you are being quite perceptive, and as you lunge forwards with the move, you stop, because you suddenly see right beneath you a pit. A pit! There's a bloody pit, and it has wooden spikes in it. Thank God that you were paying attention. You could have run straight into this. You quickly realise that whatever's beyond this pit, well, either A, you're going to have to shoot it, or B, you're going to have to try and jump the pit before this thing gets away. What do?
Oh, we're going to jump the pit.
Then please make an athletics roll. -10, because you are tied to other people. And unfortunately, in this case, that actually makes this harder.
Yeah, well, at least if I fall in the pit, I won't be falling down alone. I'm not going to fall in the pit, by the grace of God. 48 under 49.
You jump successfully over the pit. A guy to your left is a little surprised as the whole formation is pulled forwards. Even you, Kruger, suddenly realise that you're being pulled forwards by Heynrik. But Heynrik, you clear the pit, and there before you, you see a glimpse of something, but your torch is a bit squiff due to the jump, so you don't really see what it is, but you definitely see something about to get away from you. Do you make an attack with your rapier?
I'll lunge at it, absolutely. Man, monster, doesn't matter. If it means us harm, there's only one real way that Heynrik knows how to solve problems.
Wonderful. Please make your attack roll.
Let's see, melee rapier. This is the best thing, so let's see what happens. That's 1 success level.
So how much damage is that?
This is strength bonus +4, which would be 7 for me.
You lunge forward and you stab your new rapier straight into whatever this thing is. You feel resistance initially, which is a bit odd. Even under normal circumstances, flesh doesn't resist, not like armor, but there is some resistance. But then, of course, your sword just continues to go forwards like cutting through butter, and you hit something. You hear it yell out in pain. More! Bless my heart! And then it wheels away from you, your turn coming to an end. As it does so, you notice an axe heading in your direction quite swiftly.
Is that a prompt for me to dodge the axe, or a prompt for me to wait to get hit by the axe?
That is a prompt for you to attempt to dodge the axe or parry the axe. Your choice.
I think parrying an axe with a rapier is the coolest thing, and Heynrik will generally always do the coolest thing. Is that another weapon skill?
Correct.
That's 84 above 53.
You actually managed to initially parry the first blow quite skillfully, but then you suddenly feel a bit of a lurch to your side, remembering, oh, you're attached to other people. It completely throws your balance off, and then another axe from the right suddenly comes and digs into your side. You take 5 damage.
That's before armor?
Before armor, yes.
Okay, so 5 minus the 2 would be 3. Still not great, but we're okay with it.
Indeed. You thank your lucky stars that you don't think that was actually a very good hit from your opponent either. It's almost like you're a bit tangled up in each other for a moment before this being begins to then suddenly move away. However, Kruger, in all this madness, you think you see a target, and it's technically still your turn as well. What do?
This is my opportunity. I will unleash my bolt and hope to hit the target in a true fashion.
Indeed. Make the roll and give yourself a +10 due to the fact that your friend is kind of already melee engaged with this thing.
Just barely made it. 1 degree of success.
Lovely. How much damage is that?
The crossbow has +9.
You aim, you fire, you hear something shriek in agony and pain, but not go down. but you're pretty damn sure you hit it. Damn, did you not hit it in a critical area? Oh well, at least you hit it. And so the second round of combat begins. Once again, it is your turn, Kruger. What do you do?
Oh, this is the thing about the crossbow, right? I'm unable to fire immediately. I have to reload my weapon. So I will immediately begin doing that, hoping that my second bolt will be more effective.
Indeed. As you are reloading, you hear something from your right. And you suddenly see something swinging through the air at you. Something, a bag or something attached on a rope. How do you respond to this? It's coming towards your group.
I'll just yell out, "Get down!" And I'll try to do the same myself to try to avoid whatever this thing that's being thrown at us is.
Wonderful. Please roll an athletics roll. But give yourself a +10. Not difficult.
That is very good. That is 4 degrees of success.
Whatever this thing is, it swings above your head but does not hit you. But then it opens. Strange things fall out of the bag, attacking some of your group. Leeches. Big, large, blood-red leeches. They fall onto one of your party, who begins screaming in agony as they begin burrowing into him. But at least you are fine, and most of the group avoid this attack, whatever it was. Another trap. This is clearly some sort of trapped area, but these weren't the sort of traps you were expecting.
No, I just fear that we've truly walked into an ambush. I mean, that they really did know about this entryway, and that we've made a horrible mistake. We just have to try to get through it, though. Somehow, with enough force, there's enough of us. Surely we must be able to get through this.
Heynrik, it is your turn. You manage now in the flurry of battle to bring your torch up just for a moment with your free hand. You finally see the being before you engaged in melee combat. It is some sort of man covered in rags. Around him, he's got a belt full of hand axes. There's a great bulbous bulge on its back, though, covered in scales. And most alarming of all, you look to the head. It is snake-like, worm-like. The neck, that is. It seems to be moving around. But then on top of this snake-like head is a human-like face and body. This is a very alarming sight, but luckily you are in combat and perhaps don't have time to comprehend what you're seeing. What do you do? It's your turn.
Can I use my movement action to disentangle me from our rope brigade?
You can use your movement to do that, yes. You can quickly move, cut the rope off, and be free. Of the others, at least.
Has its strengths, has its disadvantages. But yes, I will extricate myself from our mutual binding, and then if there's still range, I'm going to cut this thing until it no longer moves.
Indeed, please make your roll. However, this being will meet you this time.
That's 82, which is 3 levels of failure, but I would like to use a point of fortune and maybe tilt the odds.
Please do.
I will take that instead. That is 48 under my 53, which would be another 7 damage from me.
That is a hit. 7 damage. You dive forwards and attack this beast, driving your rapier straight into that back. Again, resistance. The thing's back is scaled. It occurs to you that your sword shouldn't actually be doing as much damage as it's doing, but yet again, it's almost as if, after that initial resistance, your sword just moves forward as if cutting through butter, and you do wound this creature, but it is still not down. It glares at you with anger and rage and begins falling on you in a frenzy, lifting both axes high to solely attempt to attack you. Will you parry or dodge?
I'm going to have to parry. Dodging is not so much my strong suit.
Then what did you get?
A 92.
You attempt to parry, but you suddenly feel a little outmatched here. Your rapier, marvellous as it is not made for this sort of combat, as this thing with both its axes just lays into you, smacking you first in the face, and then slashing into your side. 7 damage this time.
Oh, he's too incredibly strong. I can deflect another foil, but the axe coming down like that, man, like he's chopping lumber. Yeah, it takes me to 8.
It's at that point that your friends finally come into action. Some of them suddenly fire their crossbows. Most of them miss, but one of them does hit the creature, causing it to stagger back a little. Third round of combat You look forward, Kruger. Heynrik is in trouble. This thing is actually standing against him and still fighting despite, you're pretty sure, taking a few wounds. But it does seem to be getting desperate. What do you do?
I must try to help as best as I can. I will fire my weapon again.
You realise that you might need to move this time to make sure you don't hit your friend. Will you use your movement action to kind of try and get around this pit you suddenly see and get into a better position?
Absolutely, yes. I will reposition so that I have the most advantageous spot for the shot that I'm about to take.
Very good, then move and fire.
That is 3 degrees of success.
How much damage would that take you to?
That would be 12.
You move, you position. For a moment, you two just look down at the spiked pit. Thank goodness you didn't just run forward. You would have been in serious trouble. You see everyone else starting to get their wits and come together, although again, another man falls to those horrible things. Some of his friends are trying to help him, but the leeches seem to just be burrowing straight into the man's eyes. Another man down, you think to yourself. But you aim, you fire at this being's arm, just as it raises another axe to cleave into your friend. It goes straight through the arm, and you think straight into the being's chest. It gurgles, it sways. You see it try to reach for a bit of string. Heynrik, a rope system. You suddenly notice where you are, there's a lot of ropes all over the place. And the being goes,
For more, bless my hunt.
and it slumps forward into a rope. As it pulls the rope and falls down, you hear a call of alarm from behind you, Kruger, and see a giant piece of wood, spiked, suddenly just come careering at you from another cave tunnel. What do you do?
I need to get as far away from this as possible. I'll just try to avoid it and continue my loading of the weapon.
Roll one more athletics check, this time at a -10.
I will use a point of fortune there because this is not a good roll. Oh, that is better. That is 1 degree of success.
You duck, you dive, and you see another man for a moment look straight at this thing, and you manage to grab him too, pulling him out of the way as this large chunk of spiked wood crashes into the wall next to you, causing you no harm.
I just look at it with incredulity. This could end really badly, really, really quickly.
Heynrik, you breathe, you blink. The figure is not moving. You think Kruger just finished it off with that crossbow bolt. Straight to the heart. Through the arm, it seems.
I'm going to... Holding my sides, of course, where the axes found their way into the softer parts of my body. But I cannot resist the urge to study this thing. Not in a Sigfreda sense, but more trying to discern. Does it resemble the kind of mutations that we saw out in the village?
You begin looking over the corpse of this creature. It's got a long beard now. The human face almost looks quite old. Well, you don't know if it resembles what you saw in the village, but it definitely is a horrifying abomination, the likes of which you've never seen. No human should have a neck this long. Please make a coolness roll.
Well, I'll break the streak. That's 1 level of success, 26 under 37.
Well, the good news is you hold your stomach in. The thing begins to bleed. Its blood is black and green.
I'm not taking any chances with this creature. If the rapier can't make its way through that exceptionally long neck, I'm sure one of the axes around will. Better safe than sorry. And then presuming there's no trouble there, is there time enough for me to use the heal skill on myself?
You could make a heal roll. It'll be at a -10. This is not the best place to stop and heal. Granted, someone comes behind you and offers you some bandages. You see that man again. What was his name? Kurtz. Oy, that was a close one. Shit, I've lost 2 men already.
Oh, pray more than that had this not gone well. But we knew this was going to be dangerous when we signed up for it.
Right. Well, here's some bandages, lad. And he hands you some bandages. Please make a heal -10 roll.
No, but I don't want to go into what's coming next with this many wounds. I will spend a point of fortune. And then a 25 under 44. So 1 success level. I believe it is your intelligence bonus plus success level.
Correct.
It is 4, better than nothing. So wincing as I make an amateurish job of bandaging myself, I will feel comfortable saying it because she is not in earshot, but say, wish Sigfreda were around when you needed her. While also being quietly grateful for the small things that she's taught me on our river travels together.
Certainly. This certainly helps a little, although you are aware that that's probably going to be the best you can do for the rest of the day. Any other medical attention will have to come from more skilled hands, you think to yourself.
Quite alright with that. At least the bleeding has stopped. Although I suppose it's going to make jumping back over pits anytime soon a little more difficult. Kruger has not made it this much closer, right? I believe you're still on the other side of the pit?
He is, although you realise now, Kruger, that if you wanted, you could just skirt around the pit without needing a jump. Now you have all the time in the world, it seems. Nothing else is coming. There are plenty more of these ropes everywhere and traps, but now everyone's looking for them. They're easier to spot.
I breathe out a sigh of relief and I begin making my way around the pit then to join up with the others. I'm just giving the crossbow a gentle tap, thanking it for allowing us to get through this alive. And I look to Heynrik. That was a close one, but this has come at a very high cost.
No great things without great sacrifice, they said. I wish the sacrifices weren't so personal. But, and with the hand that is not holding my guts on my side, I'll reach up and tilt the, I'm assuming now, filthy hat in Kruger's direction. Would have been much worse, not for your steady aim.
Oh, and I see now how injured he is. Oh, this is not good. But I'm afraid there's more of this waiting for us. We'll just have to continue onward. Hopefully we're soon there.
Oh, I've come too far to turn back now.
Hear the sound nearby of that water again. It sounds much closer, though, to a tunnel that starts going upwards.
All right. Perhaps that's a good sign. I will begin moving in that direction then.
And you begin moving in that direction. Everyone else bunching together. No time to honour the dead, one of them says, as the other two are just left behind, their corpses, sadly unobserved for now. But you are on a mission. You'll have to do a ritual for them later.
We will come back for them. We will honour them for their sacrifice, for what they're doing for the town. But first we have to make sure that we get through this alive as well and don't end up like them.
Meanwhile, above you, at a lovely dinner, you see your host, Sigfreda, the Lady Wittgenstein, gesturing to the staff. I don't suppose I could just have a little look at the staff, could I? Still hard to believe your fate brought you here just with one little thing like that.
Oh, of course, I brought it here for you. I have no reason to keep hold of it.
She takes it from you. She looks it over at the dinner table. She goes back to her seat. Again, you see Camilla von Wittgenstein, looking quite bored by the conversation. She keeps playing around with her food with a fork, humming to herself.
Lady, I apologise. As I mentioned before, I'm but a commoner. I may be educated, but ultimately a peasant at heart. Would you prefer that I refer to you as lady, as baroness, as...
Oh, please, call me Marguerite.
Well, that's very kind of you, Marguerite. There is something I need to say. Something that is wearing on my mind and causing me some anxiety.
Oh.
Well, I feel like we've become friends over this conversation, so I want to speak with you openly.
Certainly.
Your guard, and I gesture at the mask-wearing brute, has, well, not just intimated, but outright said that he will probably be interrogating and torturing me after this dinner is concluded.
Oh, yes, he is sometimes awfully naughty, but don't worry. You won't be harming a finger on her head. Doppler. She is going to be our honoured guest. You have to forgive him. He's very paranoid. He thinks the rebels in the woods, the criminals, are going to somehow storm the castle at any moment, which is ridiculous.
Well, as I told him, I know very little about what's going on there. Ordinarily, at this point, I would be thinking, what's she talking about? A finger on her head? But given some of the mutants I have seen around here, it would not surprise me at all to see one with a hand growing out underneath their hair. So I continue, without trying to stumble on my words too much. If you can guarantee my safety, I would be ever so obliged. I'm just happy that I've been able to reunite this artifact with its rightful owner.
Oh, of course. No, it's certainly interesting. She begins looking it over and paying close attention to the crystal on the top. And yet, sadly, yes. You see, unfortunately, my grandfather was a very intelligent man, in some ways quite brilliant. But in other ways, he was flawed. He partook of unpleasant obsessions, and, well, it certainly, I think, played a part in his death.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, well, don't be. I told you, my family are cursed. Nearly all my forefathers and forebears have had quite unpleasant fates, but we are trying to help those still alive. And with that, she then takes the staff and smashes it against the table, breaking the crystal.
I react as one might and back up in my chair. I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to insult you with this gift.
No, my dear. How could you know? You're not a wizard, are you?
By the gods, absolutely not.
No, I'm not either. Although I do know some things, following in my grandfather's research. But unfortunately, that sort of thing is flawed. It is cursed as well, you see. Much like this item was.
You are very wise, Marguerite. I say, trying to butter her up. That's basically my objective here. I don't really know how much power she has in this family, because she's referred to lots of relatives who are absent. And it could well be that her captain calls the shots around here. I genuinely don't know, but to my thinking, if I can make her actually like me and not just simper around the fact that I'm a physician, I may be able to spare the rigours of torture for at least a little while.
Certainly. It does seem to be working. She throws the staff away to the ground, saying, "No, my dear, you've done a good thing. You see, such an item was cursed. Cursed with darkness. And darkness, you have to believe it, doesn't actually help. Yes, it can sometimes. I thought it could sometimes have some use, but that's why I'm really focusing more on the science of things. You'll see. Soon I'll show you something, and you will see that it will trump some of the horrible things you've seen, because science itself, that is not corrupt, that is not evil, not like some powers sadly can be. Oh, I'm probably prattling away, aren't I?
Not at all. I completely understand. I think I do. I imagine there's a great deal of weight of responsibility that rests on your head and your shoulders. It must be so difficult to control a realm, I say very generously, about a castle and a sick village.
Yes, it can be. All because of, well, your tale of the shooting star. You see, I'll let you in on a little secret. My grandfather found it, in the end. Brought it home, here.
Really? You're not just spinning a tale for my entertainment?
No. It was one of the reasons, I think, my uncle killed him before falling to death himself.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had no idea.
Oh, well, we kept it all very quiet, you know. Even noble lords and ladies can't just murder each other for no Again, I'm not sure I agree with how it was handled, but, well, I didn't wasn't born yet.
Marguerite, you would be surprised what nobles get up to. Or maybe not. It seems your family has a very colourful history.
Oh, it used to be quite grand, I assure you, before the star came.
And do you still have this star?
Well, it was lost for a very long time. No one knew where my grandfather put it until I found it.
You found it?
Yes.
I lean forward. Where?
Well, that I can tell you later. Suffice to say, the rumours are true. It is something dark and horrible. I thought I could use it to help, but, well, I was wrong. But that is why, now, I'm focusing on better pursuits. And through that, I will sort everything out. I will help my family, and I will help the people of the village. But Sigfreda, you must understand, she leans forward. I've needed help. The darling doctor, he's a funny fellow, but between you and me, he's a bit of a moron. He doesn't actually know anything, not really, nothing useful. But you are actually a learned woman. You've actually gone to university. You have a degree. You could help.
I prefer to correct people on my credentials, typically, but seeing that she seems to hold me in high regard, so I will let that slip. Obviously, I haven't been to university, but we'll take the compliment that has been thrown my way, as desperate as it seems. I'll do whatever I can, Marguerite. I became a physician to help people, and if I can help you and I can help your community, then all those years of study were worthwhile, weren't they?
Oh, wonderful.
Though I would caution, and do forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn here. I'll revert back to formalities, my lady. If you have an object of darkness that fell from the sky in your castle, and it is, let's say, poisoning everything around it, have the Inquisition been made aware of it?
Of course not. What do you think they would do? They would come and just burn everyone. No, I'm afraid not. No. I need to sort the problem first, and then.
I understand, and yes, the Inquisition is often a blunt object, but how have you been able to keep Wittgendorf isolated from surely messengers from other towns, even travelling inquisitors? We can't have been the only people that arrived by boat over the last however many decades that you've been this way.
Well, a few people have come. Those by boat I've had to quarantine. You understand, they've interacted with the people in the village, the illness. And those who haven't, well, Sigfreda, you don't understand how nobility works, do you? I've paid the taxman a year ago. They don't care about what happens here. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If I don't do something, no one else will.
Where do you keep the people you've quarantined? Surely they've done nothing wrong.
Some of them in the courtyard outside. Some of the others I have to keep below. You understand? It's for their own good. Listen, we're digressing a little.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't meaning, I promise I wasn't meaning to distract. But when you say below, what, in the dungeons, or?
Well, I don't have anywhere else I can put them. Don't worry, I'm not going to put you in a dungeon. You're going to have a proper room and everything. Please, I want you to stay here. Tonight, something very important is going to happen, I think, very soon, and I want you to be pampered, I want you to be comfortable, and then I need your mind, please. Sigfreda, there are more important things than the trivialities. She starts getting slightly agitated sounding.
Yeah, my hands have returned to my cutlery. There's an awful lot I could do with a knife and fork in short order. After all, they're nothing more than surgical implements used for eating. But I cast a quick look to our masked friend. I don't think while I'm able to end this insane aristocrat's misery, it would quickly lead to my head leaving its shoulders, I suspect.
Not to mention, as you begin moving your hand around your cutlery, someone much closer to you begins leaning forwards, looking excited, saying like, Just be good and just do as she says, and then we can play, because she promised that she'd let you play with me, and she doesn't let me have anyone to play with, and I just want to talk to someone. And it's like, Camilla, please, the grown-ups are talking. I am a grown-up! I'm sorry for my cousin, she gets very agitated. Look, please.
I can tell. That's fine. I was about to eat, of course. I'll put the knife and fork back down. Let's go and have a look at this problem you have, then, shall we?
Oh, no. No, you need to finish your food first, and there's dessert coming. No, I'm going to go and set some things up. She makes the stand. You notice above you, again, the sky just rumbles a little. A storm will be coming soon, you think. Listen, I've got to go and make some preparations, but you finish your dinner, and then, Doppler, you are going to escort her inside, and then I will personally show you everything. Then it'll be easier to explain what you see, but I need to set things up. You understand?
Of course, I have worked in many laboratories where experiments and such need to be set up. So you go and do what you do. However, I must confess, Marguerite, and this is through no fault of yours and no insult to your staff's cooking. I have all the excitement of what you're about to show me has quite killed my appetite. But don't let this food go to waste. I understand you have people in your courtyard who are ravenous.
Oh, that actually sounds like quite a good idea. Although I worry they sometimes, if you give them too much, they start fighting each other, and I tell them to stop, but they just can't help themselves.
Well, select a few of them to enter an isolated area of your. I'm sorry, it's not my task to administer your kingdom, is it?
She looks like she's about to say something, and then another rumble in the sky seems to distract her, and she simply starts turning away, saying, "Wonderful, don't worry, I'll be right back. Just enjoy yourself, and when you see what I'm trying to do, you will understand, because you are a actual scientist, and it's going to be, you'll see. And then afterwards, well, maybe you'll even consider staying around. This isn't an obligation. It's just that when we start being able to help people and cure them, I'm hoping to rebuild the village and maybe reopen the port, and maybe then we can finally, with a little bit of decorum, begin re-establishing some better contact."
Oh, of course. Well, let's do one thing at a time.
And with that, she begins to walk away as the sky rumbles.
And the further away she walks, the greater the dread in my chest and head grows. I'm not an idiot. I am confident that whatever I'm about to be shown is going to be horrifying and probably do some harm to my stability. The issue is whether I take action without my companions here if things go badly, or whether I wait for them. But if that's the case, what was the point in my getting in here? I need to achieve something before their arrival.
Well, admittedly, you do then notice there are still lots of guards watching you that aren't watching anywhere else. You were supposed to be a distraction after all, and whatever happens, it seems you still currently are distracting.
That is true. Okay, well, in that case, I'm not going to eat, of course, because I question the provenance of this mystery meat. But I will start the charm offensive on the next one of the Wittgensteins, the most irritating one. I turn in my seat to Camilla, and naming the only game I know from my time in apprenticeship. It wasn't taught to me by my mentor, by no means, but it was something I picked up from a child patient that was often dropped by, permanently sickly, and never to recover, but always maintained a wonderful sense of optimism despite that, and we were similar ages, and when parents and master went off to discuss his symptoms and how it was possible to treat them, he would play knucklebones with me. Just a simple bone-rolling game. like dice or marbles or anything similar. And so I will look to Camilla, who, while she may be not a child physically, could be described as one mentally. I smile at her and say, "Do you know Knucklebones?"
Meanwhile, Kruger and Heynrik, you head through these dark cave tunnels, thankful that for the moment there seem to be no more immediate obstacles. You follow the sounds of water, and after another 10 minutes, you see a stream. You're not entirely sure where the stream starts or where it ends, but there is a stream here, and even a large pool. And above the pool, you see iron rungs and a circular tunnel going upwards, almost like a well. You think you found a well. At least, well, you're at the bottom of said well. But you think, if this is a castle, and this is a well, surely this leads somewhere good. What do? 8 people are with you. Again, 2 are still injured. But otherwise, you're all here and safe for now.
I am trying to study the situation and trying to figure out how can we now then get to where we need to go based on what we're seeing here.
Well, climbing up those iron rungs could be a good idea. You might want some rope to make it a bit more safe. You also want to avoid those red leeches on the walls. You've seen what they do when they get into someone's eye.
Yeah, I definitely don't want that to happen, especially not while climbing. Well, I just point to the others and begin trying to explain how we could possibly attempt this climb then, using the rope that we have with us. Begin trying to get the team together to move on this what will be something very dangerous.
It is dangerous, but it is a mundane danger, and you have some skill in quickly scaling things, so it doesn't take very long. Rope once again is used to tie everyone together, and you all begin moving upwards. You, of course, leading the way, I assume, Kruger.
Yes, this is something that I'm not totally uncomfortable doing.
What about yourself, Heynrik? Kruger does seem to have this all under control, but how are you feeling about climbing up old wells?
There's one question at the fore of my mind. The top of this well, is there light pouring down into it, or does it appear to be covered?
You can't quite see, but you don't think it's covered. You just don't think there's any light above it, but you actually think you can see some, when you shine your torch, some iron rails. You might be able to get that moved.
No, my concern was more that we're going to come out of the well in the center of a courtyard surrounded by guards, but I suppose that's neither here nor there. We're going up anyway, huh? And with Kruger in the lead, I feel fairly confident. At the very least, I'm not going to let my injuries slow me down. My ego can't handle it, and I wouldn't want to discourage the men. But Kruger being the provably sneakier and more observant of the two of us, I will happily nod and let him take the lead.
Kruger, you take the lead, and slowly and carefully make your way up these iron rungs. It's a good thing you're wearing gloves. They're covered in something unpleasant, and they definitely feel rusty as well. But, with everyone attached to you, and your skill, you manage to make your way up. You reach these iron bars. You push them, and they come away very easily. That's good. After all, it's a well, and you suppose for water, they wouldn't secure it that much. They also probably weren't expecting anyone living to come out from underneath, not with the tunnels the way they were. You pop your head out. You seem to be in some sort of interior location. You shine your torch around. The coast is clear. What do?
I continue studying the situation, trying to just figure out where to go next then.
Well, you look around. Definitely out of the well. You begin ordering everyone to follow you, and everyone begins slowly getting out. You are now in a dark chamber. The walls are dusty. Is there a window over there? You peek your head out. You appear to be somewhere in the great outer bailey. You remember how it looked on the map. You're well past the main gate. There's some stables to the left of you, a big-looking barracks building to the right. You quickly move into a sort of living chamber, perhaps. There are some tables and chairs here. Maybe this was once a secondary barracks, but it seems abandoned. There's a lot of dirt on the ground. You poke your head out a door, and there you see it. Literally very close by, the Great Bridge, and your target, that gatehouse in the middle. You've managed to get really close to it. This was a great idea. You're past the main gates. You're well past the Bailey. You think you can see to your left fires, and there are some people living here. Okay, no, that's not your concern. There are some stables. You see some guards moving around far away on the outer walls, but not that many. But your target, your goal, is right there. And it's quite well lit. At least, the gatehouse is. The bridge to it, not so much.
We're in. And we're close. Point all this out to Heynrik and to the others. We're really close now. Just a little bit more. And then we can take the gatehouse. And we can make sure that, that the others will succeed and that they won't be trapped.
What do the two of you do? You see this as well, Heynrik, as you join Kruger. Your goal is not that far away, but you still need to get to it. How are you going to do this?
Well, what's the fastest way to get anywhere, right?
Well, walking straight towards it would be the fastest way, but you also might get seen and shot.
That's true. Well, I will suggest this. I will turn to Kruger and say, as best I've learned, the fastest way to get anywhere is a straight line, but I expect bursting into a sprint from here might cause more trouble than it's worth. You're always the stealthy one. I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there something you can see, some shadows to cling to? A better idea than me just running directly towards those iron bars?
I think we can probably do both, but let me try to sneak up first and see what I can do on my own. And I'll call on you as soon as I'm ready.
Right behind you.
And I will begin trying to move stealthily towards our target, trying to reach it without being seen.
Please roll a stealth check, but not a stealth urban check, I'm afraid. Just a standard stealth roll for you on this one. But give yourself a +10. It is dark.
That is 02.
Well, it's not that difficult for you, Kruger, especially when you decide to just go by yourself. You quickly dart out onto the stone bridge. You look around. There doesn't seem to be many people on actual patrol where you are, but you do look up. You see the little slits. There's definitely going to be people behind there above you. That's the whole point of this sort of gatehouse. If some people can position themselves above the gatehouse or under those slits, well, they could easily kill quite a lot of people in a siege. So you make sure to avoid them. You get into the central gatehouse itself. Okay, there are stairs going directly above you. That leads to the first floor of this gatehouse, but currently you're inside. One gate behind you, and the other gate open before you. You squint ahead. You think you can see something. Bits of the main castle itself, a big, big building, and there's some sort of torches around some sort of table. You can just about make out there are some figures. Maybe some people are having a meeting outside or something.
Perhaps some kind of tactical planning or something like that. Alright. Well, this gatehouse now, we need to open it up, right? To make sure that people can pass through. It is closed, yes? Or is it open?
It's currently completely open. It's not... Your goal wasn't to close it yet, it was to secure it, and then when everyone is inside, close it. Currently, it's completely open, both sides.
Alright. Well, I'll want to try to secure the location there, so I begin moving towards it, and will try to make my way inside to see if I can perhaps cause some kind of distraction or get them to, in other ways, expose a weakness that the rest of the group can exploit.
You certainly could. Before you begin stepping up the stairs, though, you do look back. Kruger and everyone else is waiting still on the other side of the bridge. You went ahead. Are you sure you wish to do this completely by yourself?
I am afraid. Very afraid. But I figure if I can make this easier for the others by going by myself and then causing this distraction, then more of us will get out of this alive. I might not, but it's not just about me.
Heynrik, how are you feeling? You see Kruger safely get to the gatehouse, undetected. But then, instead of calling out to you or making a signal, he just ducks out of sight. You hear one of the men next to you say, What's he bloody doing? There's going to be guards up there. Can he take them all on by himself?
No, Kruger knows what he's doing, but he would have said something it was safe to go. And there's a bit of hesitation at that point. If Kruger sees something that he knows he has to deal with, then I have to trust him, but on the other hand, it might not just be me who has the disease of overconfidence. So anyone looking down towards the well would see Heinrich's eyes peering up just a little higher above, maybe making sure I didn't miss something, or on the off chance that things go wrong, I can be there to help in the best hurry possible.
Very well then. You begin making your way up the staircase, Kruger. Slowly and carefully. And then you see it. The chamber directly above you. The arrow slits, facing outwards, of course, and then the opposite side as well. 2 large levers in the walls, obviously how you operate the gates, and 4 guards. 2 of them are lazily sitting around a table, but the other 2 are by those slits. They're not looking, of course, that's how you got through. But if they did notice anything, they would immediately see it.
Yes. I need to cause a distraction here. I'm looking for anything that might be flammable, or any kind of torches or lamps or anything like that, any kind of oil or something that I could somehow utilize to cause a bit of an accidental fire in here. I mean, they would be able to put it out, but it would take their attention away from the rest of the group, and would allow them to approach completely stealthily, hopefully, so that we could take them all by surprise.
It certainly would, but there's one catch. They will sound the alarm if that happens. And while that might not be a problem, you recall the plan was to take the gatehouse first, then call out the others using that little whistle, and that was when the attack happened. What will you do?
Would they call the alarm over a little accidental cooking fire? I mean, surely something like that they would want to keep a secret, no?
You have no idea how these people work, Kruger. You're starting to think this is not a normal castle. The truth is you don't know that, unfortunately. They might not do anything. They might do everything. It is your choice.
I will take the chance, given that I've gotten this far now, and I will try to cause this distraction and try to make it into something that is irritating, but not something that would make it seem as though they were being attacked.
Very well then, let's make a dexterity roll. It shouldn't be too difficult to grab your torch, just throw it at some barrels. They might start catching fire quite easily if you do a good throw.
20 under 36, 1 degree of success.
Then you throw your torch. It begins to set a barrel alight. They must contain oil. Suddenly, a barrel begins to smoulder. You hope this doesn't make too much noise. What do? They're definitely starting to look in that direction of the fire. One of them starts yelling out, What the blue blazes? Quick, put that out, quick!
Well, now I will move to give the signal to the rest of the group that it's time to come here. And if they come now, they can make noise with their armors and whatever they're wearing, and it should not be noticed. And they should be able to get these guards while they're trying to put the fire out.
Indeed.
Now, the very second that I hear the known whistle, or whatever the signal happens to be, I am on my way.
Then you quickly begin making your way to the tower as the others do around you, although one of them says, "Wait, hang on a minute, what the fuck has he done?" And then the barrel explodes. You, luckily, Kruger, were able to get away in time from this, anticipating it, but you don't know if some of the guards did. But immediately, that explosion can be heard all throughout the castle. You might have got the tower, but you think, Kruger, you've accidentally set things off maybe just a little too early.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplay, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this second part of the series, we are tackling Book 2, Death on the Reich. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Aegersonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, Graham Barey, and Daniel for their generous support. We would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real.